Cohen has helped represent incarcerated individuals throughout Texas obtain parole and fight parole revocations. We protect those who have fallen short of perfection from the wrath of those who believe they have attained it. For more information about Gary Cohen and his associates, Alan Bennett and Gene Anthis, you can find it at the website, parolelaw.com. You may also contact them at 512-476-6201.
Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to Northeast Texas, Southeast Texas, Northwest Louisiana, Southwest Louisiana, and everywhere our 100,000 watt transmitter sends its signal to those magical boxes that still receive that electromagnetic radiation to actually bring our voices to you. And of course, welcome to the world. Good morning to the world who, through the magic of the internet, formerly known as the ARPANET, designed by we the people, not the billionaires, but we the people, gets that message, that signal, that notice to you. Anyway, we're going to have a great show for you today. We're going to talk a little bit about that great but long DNC. It got so long I couldn't cut the videos I wanted out of it because I just wasn't gonna get there. I have a whole bunch to cut after the show that I'll bring for you all over. Well, it's probably gonna start on 3 o'clock show, but anyway, look, folks, we're gonna have a great time. Anyway, let's go. Before we get started, remember we're in Fund Drive, but we're still giving you a full show, but we're in Fund Drive. So please go ahead and start giving us a call at 713-526-5738. We cannot do this without you, as you all know already. So please go ahead and start early, 713-526-5738. Extension number 1. Let's get to the studio with El Señor Howard Reynolds and Jacques Van Beba.
Yes, here we are again one more time, and we are in Fund Drive. So let's bring Sandy in this morning. Good morning, Sandy. Have you had your coffee just yet?
Just getting to the bottom of the first cup.
Ooh,
so yes,
look at you.
You know it.
Charged up and ready to go.
And ready to pitch for Pacifica for KPFT Radio. This is day number 6 of our Summer Cruise Fund Drive, smack dab in the middle of the 11 days we have planned. However, to everybody hearing our voices this morning, already 315 distinct donations have totaled up to $48,580. So we have a $75,000 goal. My math tends to be fuzzy at this time of day, but we have $29,420 left. Let's talk about that $420 and the goal for this morning. They kind of align. So maybe we can round it up to 49 by the time this show is over with your call, with your generosity. We're looking to pay the bills at Community Radio, 713-526-5738. Howard.
Well, good deal. It's good to know that the folks are being so generous to us and enjoying community radio. Jack, what you got for us this morning?
Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
All right. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good. I've been thinking about this a little while. Instead of focusing on the economy, let's ask the question, where are we going evolutionary?
Oh,
interesting. Humankind is about to move out into space and become extraterrestrial, if we're not already. Are we mature enough? Are we going to be mature enough to handle that? Are we going to be able to, take care of the people and make this great leap out?
That's a good
That's a good
question.
question.
Yeah.
That's a very good question. I don't know. That's a, you'd have to think about that since we really can't even take care of our own planet and our own people. How are we going to go out in space and do that?
You
So
know,
that's my question.
Yeah, we need to look at a lot of things coming up.
that mentality, Howard, when you say something like we can't even take care of our own country, I mean, not country, but planet, how we're going to do it. We're talking about, oh, going all over the cosmos. Of course, we're only talking about a very small part of the cosmos. The cosmos is, you can't really think how big it is. But, yeah, if you're not taking care of home, what you going to do? Go mess up something else? Uh, it is just amazing that we don't take so much serious. It's so amazing that, and all of that breaks down to the system that we have, which is a completely and unfair system. No matter what somebody want to tell you, oh, it's the best system in the world. It has created the most wealth. Jack, you make me change again. Yeah,
Jack
let
the
me tell.
hijacker.
Yeah, and no, but you see, because what he asked was a profound question, right? And just before I got on air, I was reading this article, and it was talking about global wealth tax could raise 2.1 trillion annually for climate change and more, meaning we need a hell of a lot more. It's a lot more than climate change. And as I'm reading this article, I'm like, everything that, and folks, I'm going to talk about the DNC, but I think Jack asked an existential question. Before I go into it, though, I want to ask you again to please call. Sandy knows how to get started real quick, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it also. 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to contribute, or kpft.org. But let's get into to the profound here. We talk about right this minute. According to the article, and it's well defined. In each country in this world, half the population holds only about 3% of the wealth in that country. So again, think about that. In the case of America, that says that the 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 3% of the wealth is only owned by 170 million people or so. That's the kind of wealth disparity we have here. And math, you can't get around math. So all of you out there who says, "Oh, we're voting, we want taxes cut," and and you support the current policies that we have, where things like capital gains, for those people who don't know what capital gains is or are, capital gains is that how, if you buy a stock, or if you own a home or whatever that price increase of that home is tomorrow or the day after. So if you buy a house that costs $100,000 and in 10 years it's worth $150,000, capital gains is that new cost, that new value of your house without you having to do a damn thing. So the person who owns stocks or a bank account, right? Well, not a bank account, that's interest. Let's talk about it another time. But if you have some sort of asset that goes up in value, that's capital gains. We created a certain kind of asset called a stock. That's what capitalism is all about. We created an asset called a stock, which is nothing more than a little piece of a company, right? So Joe Blow can go out there and buy a piece of a company called a stock, and that stock can be traded, right? In the past, we used to trade slaves, right? In other words, uh, we would go ahead and somebody buy us slaves for labor and all of that, and they could capitalize on that slave's value. We don't do that anymore, right? But we still do, because we buy pieces of companies, right? irrespective of the value of that company or the people that work there, we buy a piece of a company. And that company, we play with the value that it has. And when the value runs out or we don't like certain things, without the business model changing, because the economics of capitalism changes, they can lay off workers whether that thing was making money or not based on the financials that have no correlation with the actual work that's being done. You listen to CNBC, they don't tell you these things. They try to talk about EBITDA and all these different economic factors. How we created a system, folks. We created an economic system that's based on a mirage. And it is very hard for people who have been indoctrinated in this system, a system that has no comparison to reality. Let's look at Donald Trump right now, and let's look at Truth Social. Truth Social is worth several billion dollars. Several billion dollars. And Truth Social makes less than $1 million. I want you to hear that. It makes less than $1 million and it has no assets of any value. All of its work is in the cloud. But it's worth $1 billion, which makes Donald Trump a real billionaire now that he has Truth Social. He never used to be one before, but he's one now. Because of Truth Social, he capitalized capitalism. He capitalized on a concept that gave him billions, makes him worth billions on a concept. And you who go out to, and by the way, and on that billions that he has, you know how much taxes he pay? As long as he doesn't sell that stock, zero in taxes. And as he unwinds that stock before it crashes, he will be able to pay no more than, I don't think, 20-25% in capital gains after he decapitalizes it. This is a perverse thing that we are in. And how does that correlate to what Jack has to say? Well, it's, he asks us to think in a manner that says, how does that make sense? But that is what we live, and that is what and it's not just Republicans fighting for that. That is what neoliberal Democrats are fighting to maintain. And those of us that are true, real progressives, not Bolsheviks, Sandy, real progressives are saying, why don't we have a reality-based economy for a change? According to this article, it says, and I love the way they said it. They said collected wealth, which means dividends, capital gains, and rent gain from owning things. In other words, no work, no labor. You didn't have to do anything. Dividends, capital gains, and rent is typically taxed at a far lower rate than earned wealth. What is earned wealth? What everybody at the bus stop is doing right now. What you see, that those freeways that are filled up right now with cars, with people running to get to work and doing something of value. Their income, which is generally less than those billionaires and millionaires, is taxed at a lesser rate. At the same time, collected wealth typically grows faster. This is from the article too. Collected wealth typically grows faster than earned wealth. Okay? In other words, if you do nothing, if you are just somebody who has capital, your money is growing. You're making more money than the person who is working. You see, most of us don't really understand the wealthy because it's not a whole lot of wealthy people. Today, only half of the wealth created around the world each year goes to people who earn for a living. And who are the loafers again? And who complain when we talk about universal basic income, or when we talk about these projects that distribute the ill-gained wealth of the wealthy and those people who don't want to pay taxes? The system is so unfair, but we are so gullibly ill-informed by our own educational system that we just take it. And one of the things that I hope to do with the kind of activisms many of us as progressives do is to try to enlighten folks and say, we don't have to take this stuff. This is still a democracy, and there's no correlation between democracy and the current economic system that we have. There is absolutely no correlation. In fact, our economic system is more designed for fascism. Because the only way you're going to keep an educated people that maintain a system like this is if you convert to a fascist state where democracy is denied. And it's hard for people to accept that concept when from our inception we have been lied to. From our inception we had a false concept. From our inception all of these things were true. So anyway, sorry, Jack, you just got me onto this thing. So I'll go into after we do our second round of saying to people, please call 713-526-5738 and support truth. 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate, extension number or go to kpft.org to do that as well. I'm going to throw it to Sandy, get off of my horse for a bit, and then we'll come back. But please, again, we need your support. That's how we get truth out there. Sandy.
Good morning. Again, Egberto and all our KPFT listeners. There's a lot of people gathering online. You're probably clicking your radio on, maybe getting in the car and driving off to your place of employment or coming home from your place of employment. Wherever you are, remember that KPFT is listener supported. We're 54 and a half years old, and we're looking for the first donation on the 6th day, the middle day, smack dab in the middle of our summer cruise. You can call 713-526-5738, hit option 1, or mouse it over to kpft.org and click donate. And again, be the first to donate today. Things have been going pretty well this fund drive, and we don't want to break that string today. One of the thank you gifts we have is some Lola Savannah coffee in a coffee mug. It's a $10 a month donation to KPFT. You can do that as a sustainer, or just $10 a month for a year and support KPFT through the year that way. However, if you join as a sustainer, then $50 is added to your contribution, making that $120 annual gift a $170 annual gift. That's called amplification, no matter what economic system you're looking at. And with that gift, KPFT is allowed to continue its string of, again, 54 and a half years without a commercial, and being able to broadcast content that includes things like this show and so many others that wouldn't have a home otherwise. Community radio, these are your friends and neighbors supplying the content. Egberto lives in the area, as I do, and as Jack and Howard does as well. And all the voices you hear, by and large, on this station are local folk that live where you live and experience, by and large, what you experience. And hey, with that kind of perspective, the communication aspect of things gets much better, much tighter. You can relate a little bit more to KPFT. Maybe you just like the fact we have no commercials. I don't blame you. They've even gone now to, I don't know if you noticed, Egberto, repeating every commercial twice. So you see it, you hear it, and then bam, it repeats itself back to back. That seems to be the latest trend.
Oh, so that's
If
not
there was
only
a way to
me.
get- If there was a way to get commercial media more annoying, they have found it. Look, KPFT remains true to the proposition of providing community content, and what we're looking for here are the dollars to keep on broadcasting. So if you could, maybe some coffee in a coffee mug, or a Politics Done Right t-shirt, or a KPFT t-shirt, or some of the things that we could suggest to you as a thank you. But the biggest thank you of all is having this resource to begin with. So please consider that this morning as you're getting up, getting moving. If you have not yet given to KPFT, be the first today to do so. It was a little slow yesterday morning, so we'd like to recoup some of that ground that slipped a little bit. Maybe it's your turn now. 713-526-5738, option one, or kpft.org. And let me just add that every dollar that you give, it goes to keeping this station on the air. Nothing is wasted. We've got one paid employee. That's it, one full-time employee, which the FCC mandates. And apart from that, it's largely just a whole group of dedicated maniacs that want to keep this thing going. I hope you do too. So make that pledge. That makes a difference. Egberto.
Yeah, thank you, Sandy. I thought that two commercial thing was just a figment of my imagination. Like maybe it's
Nope.
like deja vu or something like that, you know?
Nope. There's the next thing you know, they'll be advertising a pill that will get that ringing out of your head. Take this pill and those commercials won't appear to repeat.
You
Some
know,
side effect may happen.
do you notice that? I mean, everything,
Oh yeah,
your
it's
feet
the
jump
latest
up.
trend, right?
It's a new drug for that, your eyes blink twice. Oh, that's a blinking eye disease. We got a drug for that.
Well, it's even worse if you consider, I don't know how many of you have, a cable service for your television. That's a subscription service. And that's kind of like what we're asking you to think KPFT as. But instead of like 150 or $200 a month, we're asking for 10 bucks or 5 bucks or whatever it is you can afford. But I don't know if you've noticed, even with those 462 channels where nothing's on, when you go from channel to channel during a commercial break, they all seem to have a commercial. Hey,
Hmm.
how did that happen? Wow. And then they repeat it twice. Your choice, 482 different commercials repeated twice, in some cases the same thing. It's a little out of hand, don't you think, Egberto? A
Oh
little
yeah,
bit?
it is crazy. I mean, again, we are the cogs, we're just the things that generate income for a few, man. That's what it's all about, folks. So anyway, look, Sandy, you were being nice when you said we missed the ball yesterday. We really missed the ball yesterday as far as fundraising for Politics Done Right. So folks, if you really like the show, I'm telling you, please go ahead and call 713-526-5738, extension number 1, and donate whatever you can. If you are on your keyboards, kpft.org, please remember to say the contribution is in the name of Politics Done Right, or go ahead when you go to kpft.org and hit the donate button, just go ahead and drop down to Politics Done Right. We really, really need your support. And like every other program, Politics Done Right has to earn its way on air. The only way management knows, Sandy knows, that folks really want Politics Done Right is if we support the program. And that's, and that is only the right thing, right? I mean, and that goes for any program. The people if folks are liking your program, a certain percentage of your people who like the program will support the program. So I'm asking to you to be those people, those of you that are listening right now that have the wherewithal to please go ahead and call 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate, extension number 2 to speak. Next subject I'm going to be talking about is, in fact, the DNC. But before I get there, I just need to pitch a bit more until a call or so come in. I'm going to get to the DNC, but I just want to pitch and ask you to please support the program. We only have today, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then we're back to 110% programming. And the reason I said 110% programming is because I never cover the entire program that I've written the night before, because we entertain your calls because it's your show. So you get 110% when you go ahead and check out the rest offline. But we really want to make sure that we're there for you. So give us a call, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Or go to kpft.org and click that donate button. I hate fund drives as much as anybody else hates fund drives, but it's the only way a public station can survive. It's the only way a public station can pay the electric bills for the 100,000-watt transmitter, for the air conditioning, and for everything else. If you are a more affluent person, you could go ahead and call right now and say, you know what, I'm going to make your quote. I think right now for the entire drive that I started so far, maybe that'll be a little bit over. I think a little bit over $600 that I may be behind in fundraising. So give us a call, 713-526 5. Actually, maybe a bit more than that. My math may be off. 713-526-5738. Can you do $5 a month? That would be a sustainer, $60 over the year. You don't even feel that as you. I know you would purchase or buy me a coffee to, let's say, $10 a month. That's a couple of coffees a month. Can you do that? Can you do $25 a month? You know what that'll come with? A 4x4 brick with whatever you want insignated, signed up on that brick with your name if you want it. 8x4 brick. Hey, that's a $50 a month contribution. Isn't that worth it? Or if you want one of the Politics Done Right t-shirts with KPFT on it. If you guys are watching on the screen right now, I have the Politics Done Right t-shirt, just a regular one. The one that KPFT has for $100 is a lot better. I can tell you that. It looks a lot nicer. Let me toss it to Sandy.
Thank you, Egberto. You know, you mentioned sustainers, and once again, out in our universe, in our orbit, we have an anonymous, very generous donor that's going to slap another $50 on whatever sustaining amount you bring to the table. So if three of you, just three of you, this is how easy it is. Three of you out there could do $5 a month, $60. Those three pledges on a sustaining basis, three $5 sustainers. A sustainer is where you go, here's my credit card, here's my EFT, I promise to send you a check, whatever it is, I'm going to do that every month. And there is no expiration date. It goes on forever or until you stop it. So you always have the ability to say no more, no mas. However, there's no cancellation date. It's the easiest way to contribute to KPFT. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to think about when the last time you donated was. $5 a month. That's all we're asking. $5 per month from each of you listening. We would be in a great place right now. But to make the goal for this program, we only need three of you to make that call to 713-526-5738, option 1, or click at donate at kpft.org. $5 a month. But you go, wait a minute, that's only $180, and Egberto's goal is $300. Where's the rest of the money? The $50 match provides another $150 on top of the 3 by $60 pledges. That's $330, and Egberto can do the I made the goal happy dance. And I love to see programmers do that. Some look like the funky chicken. Some look like they're doing the monkey. I don't know what Egberto looks like because he didn't make the goal yesterday. So let's get Egberto dancing, and then we can figure out if he's doing the frug. Hey, Egberto, come on now. Your listeners can do that.
I know. Where are my peeps? Where are my peeps? Please, 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate, extension number 2 to speak, or go to kpft.org. Okay, I'm gonna while I get off of this, please, folks, call so I can let's see who's going to be number one in contributing today. By the
Get
way,
off the schneid.
yeah, come on, let's see, be number one to contribute. And hey, look, $250 contribution. I'll I'll go any part of Texas, any part of Houston, and meet you. We have our first donor again for the morning, Ravi again. Thank you, Ravi. I love you, man. Thank you for priming the pumps for us this morning. You did it yesterday. You're doing it again. I do appreciate that, Ravi. Let me say this, folks. This is important. There are some people that here. I'm coming to you, Harry, in a minute. There are many of our contributors that love this program and love this place so much that they hear me asking and they know that I was at a donut at a zero. And just out of the kindness of their heart, they say, well, you know what? I'm going to start it. And that's what Ravi just did. He just said, you know what, man, right now you're at zero. I can do yet another $5 a month, yet another $10 a month. uh, let's not put it on just one person to support something we all love. Could Ravi be the start of that snowball rolling down the hill and picking up a whole lot more? Can we do that? Thank you, Ravi. I mean, for starting and to make sure that I don't start at a zero. But there are a lot more out there that I know can be helpful in making sure we get it out. Harry, come on in.
Good morning, Roberto. Good morning, Sandy. Good morning, Magic Jack, and good morning, Howard. Yeah, there are a lot of people out there that need to help KPFT keep it going because this show is edifying, it's educational, as you were just talking about with the capital gains and how that works. And I'll do my part and continue to do my part because we have to help people like Roberto Willis out to get the truth out, to get the message out, and so that people don't get misinformed. And he can kind of break down concepts to help people understand things maybe that they didn't think through or understood before. Well, what I called about mainly, though, was to finish off something I didn't get a chance to say yesterday and talk a little bit about the Democratic Convention. Well, what I was going to say about Donald Trump, when I read on his economic plan, he wants to buy federal land to help get affordable housing, and I was wondering what your opinion was on that. And then the other thing he said that if he gets in there, he's going to be able to bring there'll be no inflation because his thing is I'll kill every job-killing regulation. And I was wondering what your opinion was on that. And then I'll talk about what Joe Biden and AOC and Clyburn said.
Sure. It is his plan is a joke. There's no plan there. First of all, there's no need to buy up federal land to build homes on, and somehow that is just a land grab for privateers, nothing more. Okay, it's a way to say, okay, we'll turn this land over to the private sector to build land, build stuff on. They get the land for free, as they then build homes. People pay small rents, and the government subsidizes. So it's a backdoor way of transferring wealth to the from the wealthy, or I'm sorry, from the poor and the average taxpayer to the wealthy. I tell you what, you just have to look at something important here, Harry, and you brought up a thing that makes me want to expand further, because thank you for bringing that up. Donald Trump, when he went to France, and he said he didn't want to go to the grave, and he called these people suckers, right? And then he told one of the generals, "Why do they do it? What's in it for them?" That says all you need to know. What is in it for them? That's his mentality. So everything now that Donald Trump says he wants to do, you have to pass it through a prism that says what's in it for him. The hotel in Washington, D.C. that he bought what was in it for him. Saudi Arabia and all these other kings and queens went and stayed there to bribe him in a particular in a that was a money laundering scheme. The same thing would happen with the land, right? Well, it also happens here in Texas. In Texas, we build toll roads that are owned by private companies. Okay? All these things are methods of taking taxpayer dollars, we the people's dollars, and giving it to companies who then privatize the tax dollars. That's the whole scheme, the entire scheme. Go ahead and talk about the
It's
DNC.
a scam. It's a scam, is what you're saying. What
Yes,
is
it
basically
is.
what one of the speakers was saying yesterday. I can't remember which one in which one that said that. It might have been Clyburn who said it. I think it was him who said that Donald Trump is just nothing but full of scams. He's just a quick buck artist and a trickster. You know, Gordon Gekko.
Well, it is and
That's
again,
what he is. Good point.
right, Harry. We've defined what the scheme is, right? Again, it is creating structures that convert taxpayer dollars into move it into private hands, not the private hands of the regular folks,
Help the
but the
wealthy.
private
Help
hands of a few.
that you're always
Yeah.
talking about.
All right, talk about the DNC real quick before I have to move on.
Okay, well, before I get on that, he also mentioned that he's going to get taxes down, cut taxes for the working class people. I don't believe him. And then the thing you triggered something in me when you talked about how he mentioned with the military people that they're suckers and that Beau Biden was a sucker, and Joe Biden always criticizes him for that. Now, one of your callers, Brian, who served in the military, how can he support a guy who thinks very little of the veterans and the military and the people who served this country? I don't know how he can support a Donald Trump when he thinks very little of what Brian did in the service as a Marine. He has no respect for what the military has done.
Again,
Military
our minds, all our minds, and this is not just Brian. This is all of us. All of us fall for many different levels of indoctrination. I mean, you have I can enumerate it so you know who is worse or who is better or whatever. What allows us grace, Harry, is the following: understanding that first of all, we want truth. I mean, understanding that when you have people that are out there trying to create an alternate reality, and it's not just about MAGA is not the only alternate reality out there. There are left-wing alternate realities as well. Okay, there are a lot of alternate realities that are not backed by the numbers. You know, I'm an engineer. I always talk about the only thing that are true are numbers. The problem is not everybody wants to accept numbers or not everybody follow numbers. Okay? But again, we can all be fooled on many different issues. I am sure if I analyze you or you analyze me, there are certain things that's irrational. But once some of us will allow the irrational to be corrected, some of us it's a little bit harder. Go ahead, continue with next.
I'd be willing to do that. Now, like I said, with Clyburn and Joe Biden and AOC, all of them knocked it out of the park when they talked about. I think when AOC talked about abortion last night, Kamala Harris, I liked what she said in the beginning, and I liked what Joe Biden said. He was just being honest that if Donald Trump we cannot let Donald Trump make our country into a dictatorship. We cannot. In our republic, our democracy, we cannot let him do that because that is what he wants to do. And he's lying a lot about that Project 2025 when he says that it's extremely conservative, and I disagree with a lot of those things. Those three justices that he put up there that they voted on, they came from the Heritage Foundation. And most of the people, as we know, who worked in his administration the first time, wrote a lot of this Project 2025 stuff. So we can't be suckered and buy into his fears when he says that America's going to be destroyed.
I agree.
Terrible. I like how Joe Biden eloquently put all that he's wrong and he's just full of lies and you have to see through his lies and deception. You have
Thank
to
you,
do
Harry.
that.
Harry, I got to go pitch. Thank you very much, my brother. You're absolutely right. But thank you for bringing the subject to give us a chance to elaborate on issues. Thank you, thank you so kindly, sir. All right, folks. Thank you, Harry. We are at 40 minutes into the program, and we have one contributor, Ravi, and again, and as I recall, Ravi contributed yesterday as well. Uh, that all I can tell you, Ravi, is thank you for your your dufleta. Folks, we need your calls 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Please support the program. This is how we do it. You see, Harry can call, anybody can call in and say their piece and get that expression out. That's You don't get that everywhere. You know that. I know that. Many of you who have been here for the several fund drives that we've had and haven't given yet, please consider doing it right now. I'm going to throw it to Sandy before I come back and do a quick pitch.
Yeah, thanks to Ravi for getting us going here on day number 6 of 11 of our summer cruise fund drive. The contribution that he made is toward our $300 goal this morning. We still have $250 to go. So one more time, let me describe this to you so we make it easily. If two of you, just two of you, come in at $5 a month on a sustaining basis, that's $120 plus $50 on top of each of those memberships on a sustaining basis. Well, that's $220. Then it would be up to everybody else to supply that last $20 bill. But that's how easy it is, $5 per month. Now, if Egberto were to ask you for a $5 bill because he wanted to get a sandwich or he wanted to get a cup of coffee and you met him, you'd give him the $5 because you listened to him. He's your friend. He's a familiar voice. He comes to you each and every morning as a volunteer down here at KPFT. And I can't speak loudly enough or strongly enough to let everybody know that these efforts don't come for free. It's a big, big responsibility. I would challenge anyone to do a weekly or even a daily, daily radio show. These people are miswired in my mind. I don't know how they do it because after a while, you realize that once you finish a show, you got to go do the next one. You got to prepare. And in Egberto's case, Egberto, how long does it take you to put a show together for your consumption?
It's a very long time because I'm doing 2 shows a day, Sandy. I am cutting
Right,
videos for
right.
about 5 hours a day and writing
5 hours
blogs for
a day.
another 8 hours. Yes, I
Yeah,
I
it's a
live this.
full-time thing. And yeah, he lives it. And if that's the point. And all we're asking in return from you is the ability to have a place, KPFT, a signal, KPFT, by which to get this out to everyone, including you listening right now. So come on, break out that credit card. It isn't that tough. $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever it is that you can do, say, make it a sustainer. You will have done your part and you will have gotten to Egberto to his goal this morning. And let me tell you, you don't want to miss your goal. You don't. As a programmer, you walk out. I've got over 27 years of this stuff now, working on 28. And when you leave and you haven't made your goal, it's almost like, oh man, I don't even want to come back the next day sometimes if it's bad enough. You don't. These are volunteers out of the goodness of their hearts and their passion and their drive and their knowledge of the material that make KPFT go. You make KPFT go with that phone call. Come on. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. You can snag a t-shirt as a thank you. We have a hoodie. I know it's 100 degrees and it's almost summer, but you're going to wake up one morning and you're going to be talking about ice. They're going to be talking about snow. They're going to be talking about driving rain and chilly temps. And when that happens, you'll want that KPFT hoodie. That's a $15 a month, $180 thank you gift. Come on, whatever it is that drives you to the phone, if it's that incentive, that's great. But the incentive should be really obvious. You're listening to it. KPFT 713-526-5738. Option 1, Egberto.
Thank you very much, Sandy. And you said it. When you don't make your goal, we all have a goal to make for the station. This is a program that's on 5 days a week. I feel a responsibility to earn. I feel a responsibility to make sure that everybody knows that the reason why we're on 5 days a week is that people want the program 5 days a week. Like I, that is a responsible thing, or that's a responsible way to be. If you're on 5 days, if you have to meet the time that you're in for the cost that the program has to the station. Now, let me be clear. I make zero here. I just want that to be absolutely clear. So everything that's given for Politics Done Right goes directly into the coffers of KPFT. But I love this station to death because it is the one place where there is real freedom away from a structure that you hear me talk about all of the times. It is real freedom that we have to be out here informing as we will, playing the music that no one else will, giving the news that nobody else will, etc. And the only way we know that this can stay on is if people say, at this hour, we want this program. 713. And but this isn't, I know you listen to people asking you for money all of the time. But this is real. You hear this every day. And you actually see your money in action every day. Because, first of all, those of us that are hosts, we're doing it we are volunteers doing it, no pay. But secondly, you actually see the results of your money. You got agency. So please, don't just leave it up to Ravi, who has done it over and again. Please be a part of it. Feel the agency in here. You know you have a voice on this program. You know we listen to you on this program. For those who email me and talk to me, whether on the program or otherwise, you know you have agency. So if you have the wherewithal for that coffee a month, or 2 coffees a month, or 3 coffees a month, I ask you kindly, call 713 now, 713-526-5738, extension 1, or go to kpft.org, hit that donate button, and be a part. I ask kindly, let's do this. Could we do this now? Come on in, Amir, line number 1. Please be a part of it. Feel the agency in here. You know you have a voice. Turn your radio down, please, Amir. Come on in. Those who email me and talk to me, whether on the program or otherwise, you know you have agency. Let's. It doesn't look like Amir is at his phone right now, so let's go ahead and go to Steve. Come on in, Steve.
Morning, brothers and sisters. Morning, Egberto.
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
I got to watch the DNC last night, and that's something I hadn't been able to do in the past. But I used to be a Republican, but I never see Republicans get emotional, and it used to be a great party. But last night, just watching a couple of local Texans on there, Lena Hidalgo on the big stage, but Jasmine Crockett just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I have interviewed Jasmine Crockett 3 times. That woman is, her wordiology. I mean, I don't know how she picks up some of the things that she say. She's just good with words.
Oh yeah, and it seemed like the whole crowd just was right there with her. That was enjoyable to see. And then just wanted to share a quick personal story. So I think we all have like uncle and aunt Republicans, mothers and daughters and all that. I've got an uncle Republican in a different state, and I sent him like a Tim Waltz gift, spread the joy. It's about the joy. And he's like, well, that dude's just a liar, and he's a big liar, and all the negatives and hates and all that. And I'm like, well, there's only one king liar in this contest, and and who's a convicted felon and all that stuff. But I hope, I love you. I tell him I love him, and I also say I hope his state, gets out there and votes with them, and maybe they will, maybe they won't. But at least he's voting, and we talk. So he used to.
And that's the
Man,
thing, Steve.
yeah.
That is important thing. Keep the lines of communication open. My sister is a bona fide MAGA. Okay, my sister, older sister, not the young one. The young one is sort of a lefty like me, but my older one is full MAGA. And I have a video. I interviewed her when she came to visit me. Beautiful woman, lovely woman. She loves her brother to death. She's just captured. And so we just have to kind of wing this out. This is just a phase the country is going through that will get fixed. Steve, I got to go to Amir, but look, thank you for your call, my brother. You have a good one, okay?
All right, thanks, brother.
All right. Let's go to Amir. Come on in, Amir. How you doing, my brother?
Good morning. I just want to say that I always enjoy your program, and the reason for my call this morning is the choice between right and left is really easy. It's easy to say Harris, I vote for Harris, but we haven't really heard her policies on different things. We just hear these things that she talks about to make people happy, social programs. What's her real policies? For example, if she becomes a president, is she really the president, or is it going to be Netanyahu from Israel? So we call this the United States of Israel, because I don't really see much progress until we figure out some of this stuff, the effect of APAC on Senate and on this country. And that's all I have to say.
No, Amir,
Thank
don't
you.
leave. Amir, don't leave. Don't leave. You brought up some very important points, and I want to answer it this way. Okay? Right now, I don't I don't necessarily need to hear she's probably going to do it. I don't really think she necessarily have to go into any details at all. But let me tell you why I'm saying this. There are two options right now, and it's going to be Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. My first goal is to not have Donald Trump in the presidency. That's number one. Number two is I want us to remember when Obama won. I want us to remember what OFA was like. Obama for America was a mass movement that this guy created. That's the only way he could have been elected then. But where we failed is that after that election occurred, we didn't steer the direction of the country. Remember who Kamala Harris or anybody who occupies that seat is. They are somebody who will work with the people that exert the most force. And if that is lobbyists from corporations, that is the policies we will get from Kamala Harris. Don't be fooled. Kamala Harris will give you every policy that from the group or people that has the most pressure on her or forces her or him, whoever is in that office, to do something. So what I'm telling progressives right now is, as Johnny would call in and said, I love when Johnny says it. The election starts after she wins. She's going to elect who she's
So,
following. You follow what I'm
so
saying,
let me
Amir?
ask, yes, let me tell you something. So how do we go about, for example, uh, changing the policies or getting rid of APAC as someone who makes all these decisions, all the
Right.
hard-earned money that we make, it goes to
Yes.
Israel for no reason. How do we
Right.
change that? That's what I want to
I
know. And it's not because my name is Amir and I'm
No, no,
from.
no, Amir, I never mentioned that. But
I'm
I mean,
just
you're
saying
right.
that because I feel
No,
that way.
Amir, I didn't mention that. You didn't have to say your name was Amir. You could have called in and say your name is John. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying I understand that what you're saying has validity. APEC and all of these guys can exist because of McCutcheon, because of Citizens United, and all these Supreme Court rulings. What we have to do is make those things illegal because we've given corporations and these LLCs, etc., the power of a superhuman being in the way they can give money. We have to take money out of politics, and I know it's a game that we talk about all of the time, but it is something that we have to make. That's why politics done right and KPFT and all these things are so important to tell people that they are already empowered to make these changes. But we have to get to their minds, and it doesn't happen overnight. So we're working on all of that, Amir. What you said
All right.
made a
I
hell of
help
a
you.
sense.
Let me know what I need to do.
Well, support us first of all, brother. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Oh, yeah, I've always supported the KPFC. That's not a problem. But
All right,
anyway,
and by the way, keep listening to the program. We have directionality, man. Blogs, we do a whole lot of all this stuff. Keep in touch, all right?
all right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, brother. Let's go to brother Brian. Come on in, Brian.
Good morning. I hope the fund drive is going well. Is it?
Right now,
Anything?
for politics done right, it's not going well. Politics done right is way behind. Sandy's saying, "Oh, Egberto, 300 a day," but if you didn't make the $300 a day before, you're that much more behind. So no, for politics done right, the fund drive is not going very well, and it's a shock to me that with the amount of listeners that we have, that a lot of folks aren't calling in. I just don't get it. But go ahead, Brian.
Okay. Well, three things, I guess. When is Kamala Harris going to do any type of interview?
I really don't know, but I don't care either.
Yeah. Okay. That's not how this country runs.
No, actually, it is how this.
first.
Wait, hold on. It is how this country runs, sir. Donald Trump went up there and gave called an interview that he called an interview, and within that interview, there was very little truth. So we have to call things the way they are. An interview for the sake of an interview does nothing. If you go ahead and give an interview and says this country is going to hell, if you go ahead and give the interview and says inflation is through the roof, if you go ahead and give an interview and says unemployment is high, if you give an interview and that politician is saying these things, what's the point? Donald Trump got a chance to disinform you as a supporter of him. So I hear you repeating the same thing Donald Trump says that are false. Was that an interview worth having?
Okay. I don't understand what you just said because at least he's saying something about the inflation, which you're saying no, there is no inflation.
No, I am saying no.
But-
There's a number for inflation. 2.9%. Inflation was at 9%. Inflation didn't start with Biden. Inflation started because of the mishandling of the economy that caused all the problems that allowed the corporations to gouge us, and that was done under the Trump administration. That's verifiable and quantifiable. Hold on. That's verifiable and quantifiable. Continue.
There's no price gouging. Okay, that doesn't happen. That's a talking point that the left is using to try to dissuade people from voting.
Let me ask you one mathematical question.
I feel it. I see it, man. I see it every day when I go to the grocery store.
There's no price gouging?
4 years ago. No, there is no price gouging.
What is price gouging?
No
what is price gouging, sir?
Okay, when the electricity goes out and somebody sells gas, okay, and you can't get the gas, so they're going to charge you $9 a gallon. But nobody else is charging $9 a gallon. The one individual is charging $9 a gallon. It's not Shell nationwide that's selling for $9 a gallon when it should be $3.
All right, Brian.
Brian, I got every day when I go to the grocery store.
Brian, I gotta go. You know why, Brian? Because you simply
give an interview.
My brother, you don't understand. You don't understand. Really, Brian. Again, we can, if we do this rationally, quietly, we can learn something. But I gotta go to do a little bit of pitching. So let's go ahead, and it's important. It's important that we learn the truth. Brian, call back. When we're out of fund drive, I want to spend 10 minutes with you talking about price gouging because you evidently don't understand how price gouging and collusion works together. But we'll talk about that some other time. Thank you, brother.
Very clearly, you're not either.
All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Anyway, before it's 7 o'clock, that means this is KPFT Houston. Let me pass it to Sandy.
Thank you, Egberto. It is 90.1 KPFT Houston, 89.5 in Galveston, 89.7 Huntsville. You're tuned in to Community Radio. We're in Fund Drive. For those of you looking for Democracy Now!, please join us on our HD2 channel. We're doing the whole 2-hour extended broadcast of convention coverage on HD2. If you're listening on a device, tap the Listen Now button on our webpage, and HD2 is right there. Just click it and stream it. For those of you continuing on with us, thank you for doing so. We're going to run this program a few more minutes in hopes of collecting a few more dollars while we are talking to you this morning. We've had just Ravi in the first hour, and that puts us about $240 behind this morning. So you can close that gap and help community radio to move forward. There's no price gouging here. You decide the worth of this channel to you, and you make that contribution. No one's calling you. There's no bill in the mail. There's no coin slot on your radio. There's no permissions needed to stream. This is all community radio coming to you free, but it's not free, and it's listener supported. Not free, listener supported. Let's do the math. That means this is the time where we're hoping that you will dial 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. If you've never given, please become the next new member. If you have given, but it's been a year or two or a decade or two, hey, maybe it's time to re-up. For those of you that are already sustainers, you're saying, well, I'm already giving you $5 a month. I've been doing that for a year or two now. Why don't you make it up at $2.50 a month, $30 a year? Come on. This is the way we fund community radio. We do this 4 times a year. If enough sustainers join this time next year, we get to August, we will have eliminated our August fund drive. We're getting closer and closer, and we can get to that eventuality, but it takes you in the equation. One more time, 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Let me also mention that on September 28th on Clear Lake, that's a Saturday from 2:30 to 5:30, we have engaged a large party boat, a 75-person boat, and we're filling it up in this fund drive with calls with people that want to participate and support KPFT. If you want to be part of the Blues Cruise, that's with Nuri Nuri, food and beverage will be provided. Make that call and say Blues Cruise. It's a $12.50 a month donation to KPFT. We're hoping you'll do that as a sustainer. And if you want 2 tickets, a pair of tickets, it's a little over $22 a month as a sustainer, or a one-time pledge of $275. Again, that's going to be on Saturday, September 28th at 2:30 p.m., the inaugural Blues Cruise with Nuri Nuri, a fine way of supporting your community radio station. Now, we have about 16 minutes left in the broadcast here this morning. There's still time for you, but Ravi stands alone, and there are lots of people listening. So come on, shut us up by making your donation and keeping KPFT moving forward, keeping KPFT whole and broadcasting in this great city that we have, Houston, Texas. Come on. Egberto.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sandy. I would love to talk a little bit more. Let me tell you one thing interesting. This fund drive is going well. But it's the folks who support music. And I'll just be frank with you. I look at the numbers and I look at where the giving is occurring. And what I found is, a lot of the music is getting some big dollars, and they're being supportive, etc. And I love that. We play eclectic music. We play music that you can't get anywhere else, etc. But we are not just a music station. We're also a station with community actions. We're a station that brings news, opinions, and messages and truths, etc. Um, I want, oh, wow, Amir, thank you so kindly, Amir. Thank you so kindly for your so kind contribution. You really helped me with making up a lot of what we have been missing. But I want to go a little bit further. Thank you, Amir. I really appreciate that. Amir has just given us a solid contribution. Now, here's what I'm saying. A lot of these major contributors that I've seen in looking at the numbers have come through music. And that is great. I want that to continue. But also, we are more than a music station. You have Politics Done Right, you have Hugh Talk, and you have many other programs that do research to bring you information and bring you topics that from the environment, from animal care, from women's care, all these different programs. And they just don't do as well as music. And yeah, I know we like our music, but we have to be rounded. When I see my daughter on TikTok and on social media and just doing all these things, a lot of times I would ask, what else are you getting out of it? Are you making sure that you're not just being entertained, but that if you see something, you see somebody in need on that site, you also provide a service. You actually help. You actually do something of value. There's this concept known as bread and circus. How how kingdoms are maintained. How do we get fascism maintained? How do we get the monarchy maintained? Bread and circus. And it goes something to the effect of, for those peons down there, we just keep them entertained with the circus, and when their belly starts growling, we have cheap bread to give them. That's a kind of society that we are re-becoming again. And notice I say re-becoming. It's another subject, meaning becoming again. And that is, we love to be entertained, right? Entertainment is great, and I love to be entertained as well. But again, when you're a society that just looks at the entertainment, then it allows the charlatanes to take control, to not only entertain, but to rip you off as they're entertaining you. In a lot of ways, that's where we're at. You can watch reality TV shows from morning to night. You can watch you are paying a cable bill of maybe $100 a month or $200 a month. I have friends that are paying $300 a month for the full cable package with sports and everything. Everything. They're paying $300 to be entertained. And in a lot of ways, they have Fox News on there too. They have OAN on there. They're also paying for themselves to get ill-informed. Out of all of that, we're asking for a small thing, a small snippet of your disposable income, a small bit to give you agency in a little radio station. I should call us a media station now, because we don't only do radio, we do media as well. We're asking you to put a little chunk so that it's not just entertainment, but it's also food for your mind. You may not even like the stuff that I talk about, but on my 3 o'clock show, I have a whole group of MAGA folks that are there every day. and some of them are donors as well, every day, because they're getting something, even if they preach that they disagree, but they're getting something. Their minds are salivating. I'm talking rhetorically now, but the salivation glands in their minds are working because we are not just taking for entertainment. We're actually exercising the mind, and there's something about exercising the mind. Many of you are listening to me not because you necessarily agree with everything that I'm saying, but I make you think and you make me think, right? So what I'm saying, folks, is please join Amir and Ravi and add your support to the program. Make sure that we're not just entertaining. Make sure that we're teasing your mind. Make sure that we are entertaining your mind intellectually as well, which is what we try to do. So call 713 526 5738, extension number 1 to donate. Please remember to tell them this is in the name of Politics Done Right. And likewise, go to go to kpft.org, kpft.org, and select Politics Done Right and give whatever you can. I'd love a $5 contribution for a sustainer, or a $10 a month contribution, or a $15, whatever you can afford. Like I said, some of you are paying $100, $200, $300 a month for your cable. And a lot of that is to malinform you, misinform you. We are here giving you the best we can. That's who we are. 713 526 5738. We can't do this without you. I'm going to throw it back to Sandy before he throws back and we finish up.
Thank you,
Still there?
Egberto. And
Yes, sir.
yeah, thank you, Amir, and thank you, Ravi. I'd like to hear from a couple of more of you. Ravi and Amir have done the deed in terms of making the goal here for the program. However, we have a little ground to make up from yesterday, and there's always room for you. Don't worry about the goal. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Think about what you're doing. Think about how you treat what you love, what you like, what you support. If KPFT is on that list, just a little bit, and you've never given, come on. $5 a month, just a little bit, become radioactive. Make sure community radio, this voice with a difference, this non-commercial voice, not being led by the commercial dollar, not having to worry about whether or not that pharmaceutical manufacturer likes the music you're playing or likes the banter of Egberto and says, we're giving you a lot of money to run your station here, but you got this guy on in the morning and he's preaching this whole thing that we just can't abide by. After all, he's maybe backing politicians that want to rein in drug costs. And hey, we make our money that way. You see how plain it is. You see how easy it is to connect the dots. We don't do that here. It's like Egberto said, we've got music. We got lots of music from a lot of different people in a lot of different genres, and it is well received. Somebody once told me, "Oh, that's like candy. The music is the candy, and the vegetables, the broccoli, the squash, all the stuff that's on the side of the plate that your kids won't eat. That's the content you're getting here. The nourishment. Feed your mind. Feed everybody's mind in Houston. Don't let education go out the window entirely. Don't depend on just the schools. Let's keep community radio down here going strong to teach not only the folks listening now, but all those that will listen in the future. Pay it forward. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Thank you, Amir. Thank you, Ravi. We have now 317 people that have contributed a sum total of $40,000, and I believe it's $641 total. I'm waiting for the system to kind of ka-ching its way through its many servers and get the right numbers on the screen. But we are over the $49,000 mark, which means we're closing in on the 2/3 mark. One pledge, $1 a day, $1 a day pledge, and we will be at the 2/3 mark for this drive. Pretty good. We have a few days left to go, and we could even end it early with your help. Come on, fund this puppy. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Egberto, thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Sandy. And let me say this. I know a lot of you call in, and some of you would, can't call in. You're driving or whatever. I answer my emails. Okay. If there's something you like about the program, don't like about the program, or whatever, look. Neil Aquino comes every Thursday from Democracy, the Democracy Project, Houston Democracy Project. You know that. That was your choice. You guys said you wanted more local programming. I brought him on. You liked him. I kept him coming with us on Thursdays. That's the agency you have in this program. Drop me a line at kpft@politicsdoneright.com. kpft@politicsdoneright.com. I listen. I know the direction that we're going, but also I need to know what it is that what kind of improvements you guys want, what kinds of things we listen. We do. Agency 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to contribute. Remember to select or tell them it's in the name of Politics Done Right, but of course it all goes to KPFT. Likewise, go to kpft.org and select that donate button. Scroll down to the Politics Done Right and give whatever you can. Right now, as Sandy said, anybody giving any sort of sustainer, meaning $5 a month, $10 a month, $15 a month, $12.50 a month, any one of those, we have a donor that will match an extra $50 for that particular contribution. So folks, we are at an impasse here. I am going to be shutting down in about 3 minutes. We need your support. Look, my last fund drive day is on Friday, and then we go back to regular programming the next Monday. Thank you so kindly, Stephen. Thank you so kindly for your support. We need your continual support. A cup of coffee, a sustainer, $5 a month, $10 a month, $15 a month. And again, there's a lot to talk about. I mean, I'm going to have look, I have over 40 interviews that I did when I was out of town at the Netroots convention that I'm going to be bringing out, from basic income to popular vote to a lot of great activists that I interviewed, over 50 of them that I'm going to be putting out slowly as the year goes on, as we get closer to the election, etc. Think about that. You know how much work we put into making sure all of that is processed, the raw video is processed and cleaned up from a noisy area, etc. Come on, folks. 713-526-5738. Contribute whatever you can, whether it's a one-time contribution like our brother Stephen has just done, or it's a sustainer. Sustainer comes with extra value. $5 a month, $10 a month. Get a t-shirt. A t-shirt for $100. Again, a t-shirt for $100. Politics Done Right t-shirt. You love it. I promise you, you will love it. I'm giving the start to wrap up message, so I'm going to first give Sandy a last word, Howard, Jack, and then come back to me, please.
Yes, thank you, Stephen, Amir, Ravi. We're going to keep going here. We're going to be joining Democracy Now! In a minute or two here, but there's still time for you to donate to this show, and I implore you to do so. Without you, there is no KPFT. It is community, and there's a big U in there somewhere. 713-526 855-738 option 1 support. Egberto, thank you again for what you do.
Thank you, Sandy. Jack, Howard.
Oh, Jack doesn't have anything, and we're good.
All right. Anyway, folks, look, we got to get out of here. Thank you. Love you all. And I mean that from the depths of my heart. You still have time. Call 713-526-5738, extension 1. Say it's in the name of politics and right, or go to kpft.org, kpft.org, select donate, go down to politics and right, and give a contribution. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out. Democracy.
And there he goes. Oh, wait a minute. I was going to tell him the Democracy Now! Is coming on.
There you go.
But you can't.
No, you do.
All right. Let's get to Democracy Now! In progress on KPFT Houston.